record to the iCloud. I am now going to press it onto mute all. Okay, so mute. Mute all. Okay, everybody, and you're all muted. So, can you give me a thumbs up if I'm front and center? Tip top. Okay, so before we start the core section of the workout, I am going to just go, some of you may have already been through this with me before, but I'm going to quickly explain the muscles that we're going to be training in the core and the reason why we do these movements. I'm going to give some options should anybody have any neck or wrist-based issues. So when we train the core, what we're really trying to do is to create something called intra-abdominal pressure. Intra-abdominal pressure is like a can of Coke. When you stand on a can of Coke, it can bear your weight. It doesn't matter what your weight is. I'm sure it can hold 300 pounds. But the moment you open a can of Coke and it loses its intra pressure, then my daughter can stand on it and it would crush. So when we train these muscles, your erectus abdominis, erectus spinae, your TVA, transverse abdominis, your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, we are training these muscles to create a cylinder of pressure. And so when they all work together, they create that cylinder and they alleviate stress on your spine, because you've got this solid structure in your ribs and then a solid structure in your hips, and the only solid structure between the two is your spine. So we're trying to alleviate pressure on the spine by making sure that this is pressurized. So if you're pushing a piano up a set of stairs, your body automatically switches these on. And so when it switches these on, it wants to keep them in this, what we call lumbar curvature. So we don't want to train the core to go into any sort of weird position. So when we do a crunch, or we do a plank, or we do any sort of movement, we want to encourage this lumbar curvature. So we're going to start with the Stu McGill Big Three. My favorite three exercises invented by somebody called Dr. Stu McGill out of the University of Guelph, and he is the world's leading lower back expert. And I've taken a couple of his courses so far, and it really is the basics, and it's kind of what Pilates instructors learn, but like more of a dumbed down version for us personal trainers. So we're going to start on your back. Now, if you have any neck-based issues, instead of coming up, all you need to do is just tilt instead. So put your hand into your lower back, and we're going to do a crunch. So if you've got a neck-based issue, all we're going to do is just crunch and pull your pelvis up towards you. If your neck's okay, we just bring it up. Or you could try putting your chin onto your chest first and bringing it up. Now, as you come up, the goal is to make sure that you don't lose any lumbar curvature. And then we come down. Or you could support your head with your hand and bring it up. So we've got raspberries into your lower back and down. And down. One more. Good. And then change. Hand onto your head and down. Now again, if your neck gives you grief, you can just pelvic tilt. Breathe out. Three more. Two more. Last time. Good. Okay, dead bug time. Feet go up, hands go up, and we're going to push out opposing limbs, maintaining that lumbar curvature. Change sides. And I want you to really slow this down now. Wonderful. Slower, slower, slower. Slow. Good. Keep the belly button pulled into the spine. There we go. Imagine that these are mechanical, precise movements. Lovely. And again. Yep. One more. Good. And relax. Onto your side, please. Place the elbow underneath the shoulder, straighten out the body, lengthen it. We're going to do a side plank to the oblique, and we're just lifting ourselves up. Now, we want to stack the shoulders, so lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. There we go. Hold that. Now, that hurts my elbow, because I've got delicate elbows, so I'm just going to fold my mat over. There we go. Oh, I can see everybody side planking. Now, at the same time, we're braced just here. If you were doing some of my videos last week, you'd have heard me say the word, the 3 Bs. Breathe behind the brace. So I'm staying braced. 3, 2, 1. Change sides, please. So I'm maintaining my brace. Get yourself nice and straight. Lift ourselves up. There we go, we're braced just here. So it's nice little breaths that I'm taking just behind my breathing. So I'm always keeping this nice and braced, just inside here. There we go. Good, hips forward, brace the core, nice and solid, nice and solid. And again, at any time, if anybody's confused, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. I'm sure if you've got a question or you're unsure about anything, there was probably somebody else on the workout who's thinking the same thing. No stupid questions here. 3, 2, 1. Good. Ease it down, back into the crunch. So, breathe out. Oh. Leg goes down, hand into the lower back. And again, I'm just supporting my head with my hand to alleviate the stress on my neck. Now, I'm not yanking my head, I'm just allowing the weight of my head into my hand. And it's just about getting that balance right. You notice when I do the crunch, it's not a big movement. And then when I go back, I rest my head again. Back, rest the head down. Rest the head down. One more. And down, rest the head down. Change over. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Good. So in your mind, all you're thinking about when you come up is making sure that you don't crush your hand. Oh, I can feel myself crushing my hand. Second thing to think about is that you don't push the stomach out. You pull the belly button in on the way up. One more. And down. Beautiful. Dead bug time. Hands go up. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And change. Really mechanical and slow. Good. Zone your focus and your attention into your lower back. Again, there's no movement. Your lower back doesn't lift, doesn't depress. That lumbar curvature remains the same all the way through this movement. And change. My intention here is to exhale as I stretch. Breathe in on the way in. But I'm breathing behind the bracing again, maintaining the bracing, and I'm taking some little breaths. So it's almost a little bit higher, less diaphragmatic and more into the lungs. One more. You should be burning here all the way through. Okay, onto your side. And then we lift up. It's interesting, last year as I was doing these core-based exercises, I've always had lower back issues. I've got compressed disc and a bulging disc and all sorts of nonsense going on in my lower back. And I've been to Pilates classes. I don't like it. And I've had homework from physios and all sorts of different people. I've taken courses, but I've never done basic exercises consistently. Probably progressed myself along too far. 3, 2, 1. So when I did the first set of classes, I did these exercises consistently. I didn't do anything fancy, and just, doing it twice a week and not doing anything fancy, no weird movements. I started to create incredible strength through my lower back and my core. And it just proved to me that core exercises don't need to be fancy. We just need to do the basics, but really, really well and consistently and often in order to make a difference. Obviously, variety is a little bit, it's for the brain, because doing the same thing is boring, but I'm going to make people do these exercises and then some additional ones as well every time we do core. I am utterly convinced that the basics done very well are way more important than exotic fancy movements. I've seen the evidence in my own core. 3, come on, fight it. 2, 1, and down. Last time round. Here we go. Hand into the lower back. Protect your head with your hand. Exhale. And then head back down again. Rest it. And down. And down. And down. And down. And again. One more. And down. Change over. Exhale. And down. Lovely. Now I am just starting to feel my lower abdominals working, which is a great sign. So below my abdominal, my belly button, into my pubic bone. If your neck starts to ache, just give it a rest. Do what you can do. Progress, not perfection. And down. Dead bug time. So 90 degrees, 90 degrees. There we go. Exhale. Lengthen. And back. And again. Lovely. Again, I invite you to focus in on what your abdominal wall is doing. Good. Making sure that your belly button is pulled into the spine. Now hold there. I can see one person doing both limbs on one side at the same time. It's opposing limbs. So right hand, left leg, extend. Good. Now, make sure that the hand that stays up is still pointing at the ceiling. Oh, it's burning. It's working. Good. Last time. Oh. And down into your side plank for the last time, please. Extend the body nice and long, lift up and hold. Good. Stack the shoulders on top of each other. I like the sequence of these movements because it just gets everything switched on. You should be really aware of the lower oblique inside here, engaged and switched on. We're solid, we're braced. Stay with it, stay with it. Again, if the neck starts to ache, you can just look up and that alleviates the stress on the head. 3, 2, 1. Down, change over. Body's nice and long. And then elevate. There we go. Stay braced in the core. So the good news is that nobody has contacted me, and it looks like I've got no issues, I don't think. No, nobody's emailed me, no one's messaged me, and nobody's texted me. So I'm presuming everybody who wanted to get on the call is here. Technology is my friend today. Hold it. 3, 2, 1, change. Oh, we just did this side. Okay. Lie down flat on your back and give me a wonderful big stretch out. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Push your toes away. Reach your arms above your head. Expand and open your abdominal wall so you're pulling your ribs away from the pelvis. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And back. Feet go nice and flat. So spinal mobility here. Head and shoulders stay in contact with the mat. And all we're doing is tilting the pelvis. So imagine you've got a pint of water just here, and then you want to, that's attached to your lower abdomen, and then you want to tilt until that water tips on you, and then back. So just give me a couple of tilts, please. So we're just warming up the lumbar spine and getting it to move. We've just spent 15 minutes locking it in place, but it's equally important to get movement and to get this vertebrae to start independently moving. There we go. Now this time we're going to add in a bridge. So we tilt the pelvis, and then we gradually lift the vertebrae off the mat, and then we gradually lower them all back down again. And again. Tilt, lift, gradually lower. And again, tilt, lift, nice and steady, lower, like bricks being laid down. Each vertebrae is a brick. So tilt, lift, gradually lower. One more. Tilt, lift, nice and steady. Good. So we're going to do a Russian twist here. Hands go out to the side, feet go up. There are 2 ways to do it. Feet on the floor or 90 degrees at the knee. Keep the shoulders welded into the floor. We're going to steadily rotate down. Now, if that's where the shoulder wants to lift off, that's as far as you go. I want you to keep contact, maintain contact with the shoulders on the floor. For me, that's where I go. I don't have enough mobility to get my knees all the way down and keep my shoulder on the floor. Keep the belly button pulled in. There we go. Oh, nice work. And again, control that down. One more. Good. Feet go down, hands go flat, back to the spinal mobility, pelvic tilt on the way up. Nice and steadily lower each vertebrae down one at a time, being conscious of getting independent movement through each vertebrae. And again, tilt, lift, Good. So, yeah, the moral of my story was that after doing 2 months of consistent basic exercises, my back was the best it's ever been. And then I said to myself when I stopped doing the classes, yeah, I'm going to continue doing those. I never did. I'm no different from anybody else. My ability to adhere to exercise and less motivated to do so is no different to anybody else's. So I didn't do it. And so I steadily and slowly started to get a tight back. And I know my warning signs are, if I wake up in the morning, my back feels tight. It's not painful, it's just tight. I know that my core needs to do some more work. And so I've been very excited to get back to these movements. Lift up, lower them down one at a time. Lovely. Last time with a Russian twist. Feet go up, weld those shoulders into the mat, and slowly start to lower those down. Good. Be conscious of your oblique doing the work to lift you up. So the knees go down, this oblique fires and drives those knees up to the ceiling. And again, control. Push down with the hands and driving those down into the floor. Good. And that enables me to really isolate these oblique muscles. Control down. And again. And up. Drive it up. And up. One more. Good. Extend, stretch, lengthen, reach, make your body as long as you can. Take a good couple of big deep breaths. Fabulous. Stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And pull the arms back. Grab yourself a drink of water if you need to. So I'm just going to give some alternatives, maybe even for the next workout that people do. If, this one's, I'm sure you don't mind me singling you out, Judy. This, something that Judy and I have worked on a lot, is wrist mobility. So when people are doing work on their hands, whether that be stretching for downward dogs or doing bird dogs or anything on their hands, if you've got a reduced range of motion in the wrist, when you go onto hands and knees, you get massive pain inside here. So a few ways to deal with that is before we do them, so I invite you right now is to go through a few little stretches with your hands, just like that. You're pushing them back and you'll get a big old stretch right into the forearm through here. That's the ticket. So if you can see it's taken me a while to get that to there. I hold boxing pads a lot and I hold handlebars of bicycles a lot, and handle weights, so for years on end. So my forearms can get really, really tight, and it's taken me a bloody long time to get my fingers to go back that far. Release. Change. And my right side is my problem side, and I can instantly go 30 degrees more on my left side. So that just tells me how much bloody work I have to continuously do, because I will always do repetitive movement with grip work. It's unavoidable for me. If I don't look after my forearms, they just tighten back up again, and then I get a tennis elbow. And golf, I get everything. I get every sport elbow you can think of, if I don't continuously maintain this work on opening up my forearms. Relax, now put them both together and then just pull them up, just get a flexor, extension stretch. Good. Now the second thing that we can do is with your mat. So just so there's not quite the acute angle here, by folding over the mat a few times and then placing the heel of your hand on the mat, you can reduce the angle required inside the wrist by a good, 10 degrees or so, and that alleviates stress inside. You just have to make, you can actually, in the world of Pilates, you can purchase gloves with a pad on the heel that do that. They're like $90 just for that reason. Or you can do a really good job of stretching out your forearms. So when we do our bird dog, and it does give you a wonderful little guide to bring your hand back to the same spot. So I do like that. So let's do a few of these, please. Now, when we do the bird dog, we are stretching. It's not so much lifting, but you're pushing the hands and the heel away and really pushing my heel to the wall behind me and stretching out with my fingers. Good. So you get a great big stretch through the shoulders all at the same time. The second thing is, imagine you've got that pint of water rested right on in between your hips. That pint of water isn't moving. If you watched my videos last week, you saw that I put a stick across my hips. That's one way of doing it. The chin stays pulled down just to avoid kinking the neck. One more, please. Wonderful. Okay, so just one little set of those. It is time for your stretch. So again, grab a drink of water should you need to. Before I used to just stop the video and start it again. I'm not going to make people muck about with that. We're just going to have a couple of minute rest, and then we're going to get into our stretch portion of the workout. That was 26 minutes, but there was a level of me gabbling on. So we've got, lots of people here. How fabulous. So we're going to go and start with a hamstring stretch. Park yourself on your bum. Put that foot out to here. And we go down. Now, I made a decision a long time ago when I was doing these classes to do everything from a sat position when it comes to stretches. There is more variety that we can go into from standing positions or whatever, but it's just easier. And I think it's because I'm a bit lazy. I don't want, when I'm doing my stretches, I want to feel relaxed. Sometimes I feel like yoga is just a bit too much like hard work. It's a workout. And I don't want to do a workout when I'm stretching. I want to be able to relax into these stretches. The workout is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For me, the stretches that we're doing, the point is to just breathe into these movements. Take some lovely big deep breaths. Exhale. There we go. Now, rather than rounding forward, as you're pulling yourself forward, keep the chest up and imagine you're trying to push your belly button onto the thigh. I'll remind you today, and I'll consistently remind you probably every time, the level of intensity is a 5 or a 6 out of 10. So that level of pain that you're feeling, if you're perceiving it higher than that, back off. It's counterproductive to go through anything more than a 5 or a 6 out of 10 in pain when we're stretching. Because as you release the stretch, the muscle tightens itself back up again. So it's pointless. Now, as we're holding the stretch, I really like 2 or 3 minutes for a lot of stretches. In a 2 or 3 minute period of time, we're developing the length of the line of fascia. And we'll do little variations within each one. And you'll notice I'll swap you over onto your front and onto your back. And the purpose behind that is to do with fascial lines. You have a line of fascia, we have 12 in total. You've got millions, but you've got 12 main lines of fascia that pass through the hips. The posterior line of fascia, which is what we're stretching right now, attaches above your eyeballs, goes down your spine, down your erector spinae, through your glutes, through your hamstring, around your calf, and attaches on the sole of your foot. So that's what we're stretching. And you can feel that. Pull your foot towards you, and then pull your knee into your chest, and you feel the stretch increase down the back of your leg as you pull your head forward. That's a direct indication of that entire line of fascia. And that, as you nod your head, you're flossing that line of fascia. Muscles, the fascia goes around the muscles. They envelop the muscles. There we go. For me, I can feel it right on my adductor as I pull my head down. And then as I pull my toe towards myself, I can feel it more behind the back of my knee. And relax both. Good. Give that a couple of bangs. Change over onto the other side. Here we go. Now, instantly feels tighter. It's like, yep, that's way tighter. So just be gentle with it. Don't try and force it because you developed probably up to 5 to 8 millimeters of length on that line of fascia on one side. So what I was saying before is you've got the anterior line of fascia, posterior line of fascia, and then the anterior line of fascia attaches underneath the chin, goes down the chest, goes through the pecs, abdominal wall, through the hip flexor, over the quad, tibialis anterior, and attaches on the top of the foot. And they work against each other like the pistons on a crane. And so lines of fascia have to be balanced against each other. So if I just did this bloody stretch every day, I'm going to get pain. That's when you look at even a yoga class, 3,000 years ago, some clever bugger in India figured out that you can't just do one stretch in one direction. You have to stretch in all directions. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is they spend too long doing this and not enough stretching at the front. So I'll flip you over. You'll go on your front, you'll go on your back. And the idea is to have an even number of stretches where you're stretching anterior against posterior. Okay, so we're just gradually keeping the chest up, pushing yourself forwards. On this side, I invite you, I love it when my yoga instructor says that, I invite you, so I'm not telling you to, I'm saying you can try this, to really focus on the breath. There we go. So you'll notice this week, these classes are way more heavy in instruction. And then as people, I will always revisit cues and instruction on the basics because we forget. There we go. And as we go along, we'll spend a little time just focusing on the breathing because it really is those deep breaths in and out that develop these lines of fascia and open up your body. Lovely. Now pull that toe towards you. There you go. Come on, toe towards me. And then use your head, nod the head down towards the foot. Or on this side, for some reason, I feel it right in between my shoulder blades. And again. So I'm also going to be doing a series of bonus videos. I've got one on soft tissue work, on how you use a roller. And these will be when time suits me. I'll post when I'm going to be doing it, but they'll be recorded and thrown into the page. I've got another one on foot pain, plantar fasciitis, how I deal with my injuries. But another one on shoulder mobility that I'll be doing. Another one on Wim Hof breathing. Some of you have seen me do that on my deck a couple of times. And down. And back up. Ooh, there we go. Release that, ease yourself back. Ooh, now we're going to do some adductor work. The soles of your feet go together. And then you're trying to get your bum as close to your heels as you can. So to do this, all I do is I lift my bum up and then push myself forwards into that movement. Then with each hand, pull myself forward. There we go. Sometimes just gravity pushing down is enough. and you might not be able to reach forward, or you might just be able to go here. That's totally okay as well. Wherever you can get to. There we go. Lift the chest up. Get a wonderful stretch into the groin. Good. Now with some nice big deep breathing and just letting gravity suck my knees down into the earth. There we go. It's on the exhale, as you release, you should be able to feel the knees going down and down. Mobility, eh? So glad so many people are doing this. If you'd have asked me if I stretched in my 20s or even my 30s, I would have laughed at you in a cavalier manner. Ha! Stretching, I don't need to stretch. Oh, how it changes. For me, it really did start with doing yoga. I couldn't believe the difference it made. But I also understand that, and it's a shame because it's so heavily female dominant in a yoga class, but it's dudes that need to do it. As you start to tighten up, the run muscles start to activate and exercise becomes painful to do. As we mobilize, stretch, lengthen, exercise becomes nice and fun and comfortable. We're not sore. Exercising on tight joints and muscles creates more soreness and tension the next day. You cannot, it's impossible to do one without the other unless you're 25 years old. And it makes no difference and you have elastic tissue. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, ease those out. Give those a stretch. We're going to do some spinal rotation next. Place that foot over. And how far you go is okay. I'm going to go to the side so I can see what I'm doing. Opposing hand goes over. And I'm trying to pull this leg over. And then I'm turning over my shoulder. There we go. And I'm feeling a stretch in 2 spots. On the outside of this glute. And kind of in my lower ribs, in my back. Getting a stretch. Now, in order to get increased range of motion, you have to use your breathing and your diaphragm. So you take a wonderful big deep breath in. As you exhale, you twist even further. And again, deep breath in. Exhale. And again, deep breath in. Exhale. One more, deep breath in. Right into the belly, exhale from the belly. Twist and turn. Oh, there we go. And release. Change over. Foot goes over. You can increase the intensity by bringing the foot closer up and the hand up to raise the upper body nice and upright. Oh, we go over and we turn. And I'm really pulling that leg across my body. Getting a big stretch through here and looking over my shoulders. Good. Breathe. Into the belly, exhale. And again. Turn, turn, turn. Inhale, exhale. Last time. Great. Ease out. Grab yourself a drink if you need to, and I'm going to take you down onto your bellies. So right now, because I've done so much posterior chain stretching, I actually feel tension in my lower back, and I know that it won't go away until I start to open up my anterior line of fascia. So we're going to start off with some back extensions. So you take a deep breath in, exhale, cobra. Just go to where you feel comfortable, and down. Now this time, make sure that your bum, your glutes, don't switch on as you go up. So relax the glutes. Lift up and down. We're looking for a wonderful big stretch through your abdominal wall. And again, lift up, breathe out. And down. And again. And again. And down. Last one, please. Nice and high. Stare right up at the ceiling. Hold, hold, hold. And down. Beautiful. So we're going to go for a anterior deltoid, pec, bicep, abdominal wall, quad stretch. So grab hold of your foot on both sides. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. I instantly, on my bad side, on my bad elbow, on my right side, I can feel a stretch going into my bicep. It's a big stretch. This is vitally important for me and my elbow pain to make sure I do this stretch often. So as I push my feet into my hands, it pulls my chest back. But again, it's going to be different for everybody. You could be getting this through the chest, front of the shoulders. For me, it's all bicep. Different for everybody. Hold it, hold it. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Push harder, push harder. 3, 2, 1, and down. Well done. Another back extension, exhale. And you should feel an increased range of motion. And again. Good. And now I've done that stretch, I don't feel a pinch in my lower back. I actually feel a stretch in my abdominal wall. And the beauty of doing these cobras is that we've done our spinal mobility in the core beforehand. And I find that if I don't do those before this, I don't get the same range of motion. So they work beautifully with each other. One more. And down. Fabulous. Now, onto your knees. If your knees are tender, you can fold the mat like that. Put your toes together, knees nice and wide. Sit yourself as far back as you can into the child pose with your arms stretched in front. There we go. Your goal here is to try and get your head as your arms together as close as you can, with your head in between your arms. Try and get the bum low and the forehead onto the mat. Now breathe. Relax into that movement and breathe. Good. Relax the abdominals. Feel yourself sinking between the legs. Okay, pull yourself up. You can pull the mat over for your wrist if you need to. You just want to pump the calves a couple of times for some calf stretches. So again, those wrists give you some grief. Just that little increase reduces the angle inside the wrist. Change. Keep changing, keep pumping those calves down. Okay, I'm going to go into a pigeon stretch. Foot goes up, externally rotate, and then push back. So, the stretch here is going to be right to the back. I get it in my groin though. A little bit of hamstring. And again, it's some people can get 90 degrees with their shin. If I show you from the front, they can get this at 90 degrees. Other people can't. And this is dictated by the shape of your femur. What's called the greater trachea, trachea, I think that's what it's called, which is the bit that sticks out and goes into the hip. Some people have a longer one, which enables them to get more external rotation inside the hip. I've got a short one. So if I force this and try to really, really force external rotation to my hip, I'm going to tear my labrum, which is the tissue that creates a capsule around the hip. So this is not, as it is with any stretch, this is not something that we force. It's not something that, if you feel sharp pain inside the hip, that's not the muscle stretching, that's the labrum tearing. Your goal here is to stay in a pain-free range of motion. And if that's as far as it ever goes, that's totally okay. It's wonderful. You have to go with what you're genetically given. And people who force this and do too much of it, go too far, and attain a range of motion that they weren't designed to attain, that's when they have long-term hip-based issues. And as soon as you start getting labrum tears, then you lose your synovial fluid, and then the ends of the bone start to rub. It's like losing the oil in the engine of a car. So this is something that we have to be careful with and protect. 3, 2, 1. Get yourself out of that. Pump those calves a couple of times. Again. Change it over to the other side. There we go. So there are two parts to this. You can just stay in this upright position. If you feel like you want to go a little bit more advanced, you can put your pigeon to sleep. Take it down. You can stretch yourself out. For me, that's enough. It's an almighty stretch. I know that I don't need to go any further than that. I just need to do some nice light breathing. Draw your focus into where you feel it. Again, I'm adductors, groin, and that's okay. Breathe. Relax. Fantastic. Hold that. Three, 2, 1. Release. Whoa. Grab a drink if you need to. Take yourself down onto your back. Last little stretch and then we'll be donesies. So leg goes down flat, pull your knee into your chest. You should be getting a wonderful big stretch here. Just a few seconds, pull that in. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left and then we'll be done. Good. And now we're going to get a wonderful rotational stretch. In my mind, this leg, I'm trying to straighten it out, lengthen it. This shoulder here, I'm trying to keep this one flat down into the floor. I'm stretching out with my hand and I'm pulling this knee down. Big deep breaths. Your focus here should now be on your diaphragm. As you breathe, let it expand. As you exhale, you should feel the knee naturally want to go down a little bit further. Your stretch could be felt in your chest, shoulder, bicep, through your ribs. You could be getting this in your groin. You could be getting this in your glute. Relax. Relax the shoulders. Release. Lovely. Flatten yourself out. Pull that opposing knee into the chest. Flatten out that flat leg. Try and push the knee down into the floor. A little bit more with this opposing knee. Pick it up and across. Breathe. And release. Lie down flat on your back. Take your feet apart. Take your hands apart with your palms up towards the sky. Close your eyes. And just in this position, I want you to focus on some breathing. Nice, big, deep breaths. Keep going. Keep breathing. Stay exactly where you are. There you go. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit as you breathe. Well done. There you go. Stretched your little bodies. And I'm going to press stop on the video. But if you're feeling like this is your place, this is your jam, you can stay there. You can stay there for a good 10, 15 minutes. If you're feeling beautifully centered, you have no thoughts passing across your mind, do it. This is where I find I'm able to relax the most. I've been mindful for 30 to 40 minutes. I am calm, clear-headed, and feeling amazing. So thank you very much, everybody. Like I said, if this is where you're feeling good, stay there. And at 10 a.m. tomorrow, we will be doing all abilities, Nigel's wicked workouts. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow.